The sun had just slipped below the horizon when the GPS rerouted. A red line curved off the main highway onto a narrow two-lane road, promising to save 20 minutes. The asphalt was cracked and faded, with grass growing through the center line. Tall pines leaned in from both sides, their branches arching overhead like a tunnel. It felt wrong immediately. Traffic had thinned to nothing, and the fading daylight made every shadow stretch across the road. Turning back would cost time, maybe half an hour. So I kept driving. 5 minutes in, the cell signal dropped. 10 minutes in, the trees grew so close together that even my high beams struggled to pierce the forest ahead. Fog crept along the ground, curling around the tires like smoke from a dying fire. The deeper I drove, the quieter it became. No crickets, no wind in the branches. Even the hum of the engine seemed muffled. By 15 minutes, the road split into a fork. No signposts, no mile markers. The GPS had gone completely gray, leaving nothing but a blinking blue dot surrounded by empty space. The left fork dipped into the darker woods, swallowed almost immediately by fog. The right fork sloped uphill, where a faint glow shimmered through the mist. The path with light felt safer. The tires crunched on cracked pavement as I crept up the incline. The trees suddenly gave way, and a small town revealed itself in the fog, as if it had been waiting. A modest square sat at the top of the hill. Old-fashioned street lamps cast pale yellow halos onto broken pavement. A single gas station leaned on the corner, with one pump and dark windows. Across the street, a diner flickered with a red neon sign, Miller's. Beside it, a narrow general store stood with streaked glass and faded lettering. A dozen houses lined the short main street, each with sagging porches and paint peeling off in long curls. No cars, no movement. The place looked like it had been frozen in the 1950s and abandoned, except for the lights. I parked in front of the diner. Through the front window, a lone man sat at the counter, hunched over a mug. The overhead fluorescents flickered faintly, buzzing in the stillness. Curiosity and unease wrestled as I opened the car door. Cold, damp air rolled in, smelling of wet leaves and metal. A bell above the diner door jingled softly as I stepped inside. The air was warm and stale, heavy with old grease. Scuffed linoleum floors stretched toward a counter lined with cracked red stools. Dust collected in the booth corners. Only one of the overhead lights was on, flickering like it could go out at any moment. Behind the counter stood a tall, thin man in a white apron that might have been clean years ago. His sunken face looked as pale as the fog outside. He raised his head slowly, bloodshot eyes meeting mine.
"We're closed,"
He said, voice flat and mechanical. A glance at the clock above the register read 7:13 p.m. "Oh, sorry," I stammered. "Just passing through." He gave a single slow nod and returned to wiping the counter with a damp rag. The man sitting at the counter didn't move. He didn't even glance up. He just stared into his coffee like he'd been frozen in place. I hesitated, then muttered, "Have a good night," and backed out. The bell chimed again, echoing too loud in the stillness. The car sat alone under the street lamp, fog curling around its tires. I slid into the driver's seat and turned the key. The engine coughed. I tried again. Nothing. Heart pounding, I popped the hood and stepped into the damp night. Under the yellow light, I saw it, one of the battery cables dangling loose, like it had been deliberately pulled free. I hadn't touched the hood all day. A crunch of gravel froze me. Footsteps. The man from the diner now stood in the doorway, his expression blank. He didn't move closer. Across the street, an old woman appeared in the doorway of the general store, arms folded tight. Her gray hair was pulled into a severe bun. From a porch in the distance, another figure emerged, a tall man in overalls, bare feet padding silently on the pavement. 3 pairs of eyes now, all fixed on me. Need help? My voice cracked, the fog swallowing the sound. The diner man tilted his head but said nothing. The others stared, unblinking. The fog thickened, curling over the hood of the car. I could see my own breath now. Instinct screamed to get back inside. I slammed the hood shut and slid into the driver's seat, hitting the lock. The click echoed in the empty street. The key twisted. The engine sputtered, caught for half a second, then died. The street lamps flickered and the figures started moving, slow, deliberate steps toward the car. A high, childlike voice drifted through the fog, far too close.
You shouldn't have come.
Every hair on my body stood up. My head whipped around, no child in sight. The figures were closer now, their faces catching in the headlights, too pale, skin stretched over bone, eyes sunken into dark hollows. The old woman's lips were moving, but no sound reached me. The man in overalls grinned faintly, his teeth a dull gray. More shadows emerged from porches and doorways, silent, barefoot, blank-faced. I slammed my palm on the steering wheel and twisted the key one last time. The engine roared to life. Relief burst through my chest. I floored it, tires screeching on the cracked pavement. The figures didn't chase. As I tore down the street, the diner sign flickered wildly. In the rearview mirror, I saw them standing in the fog, perfectly still. Then, one by one, the street lamps went out, plunging the town into blackness. The fog swallowed the road as I descended the hill. My hands trembled so badly I could barely grip the wheel, and my eyes burned from not blinking. Minutes later, the forest spit me back onto the highway. My phone buzzed, full bars again. GPS resumed like nothing had happened.
Continue straight for 42 miles.
I risked one glance in the mirror. Nothing but a wall of trees. No turnoff. No town. Weeks later, curiosity got the better of me. I searched county records, old maps, even satellite images. No town in that area. No abandoned settlements. The only thing I found was a single forum post from years ago.
Don't take the old forest road after dark. If you see the lights, keep driving.